Hey everyone, I wanted to talk a little bit about this extra credit assignment that a lot of you availed yourselves of. I told you there was more to it than just an extra credit assignment, and today is where I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about it. So with that, let's go ahead and reduce myself here, and we'll jump into this. So here's the thing. Over the last few weeks, over the last month, we've put a lot of tools in our toolbox in terms of communication. We've talked about purpose and audience. Audience meaning demographics and psychographics and context and so forth. I could bring myself back up for this. And we talked about channels and media mix, frequency, reach, things of that nature. We also talked about format and design, making things look good and easy to consume, easy to understand, easy to find the information that you need. And then we also talked about tone and message. Well, these are all the tools that we put in our toolbox that we will now use for the rest of the semester. Well, what I did with this extra credit assignment, without you necessarily realizing it per se, is I used every single one of the tools we talked about in a communications plan. So before I jump into that, let me ask you something. How many of you participated? Now, by my statistics over here, about half of you participated in the extra credit assignment. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but trust me, half is huge, okay? Especially for a very, very optional assignment, very early in the semester, half participation is a huge outcome. Now, I also ask, why did you participate? Now, you might think it was for the points, but let me tell you this. I also offered this very same extra credit opportunity in my Business 1050 class. However, I did not promote it through a campaign, the campaign that I'm about to share with you that you experienced for the last 5 weeks. I just put it in the extra credit tab. That's all I did. And with zero promotion, zero campaign, I had one student out of 60, that's 60, one student out of 60 who took advantage of the campaign or this extra credit assignment. Whereas you guys, half of you did. So now, if you did it just because of the points, well then 1050 should have had half participation as well, instead of 1 out of 60. So some of the reasons that some of my lecture students said they did this was they wanted to have a little bit of extra points going into the semester. So if they miss something or, kind of lose some points on something, they can relax. They also figure, well, heck, I have to watch these videos anyway, so I can do this. They also kind of liked the competitive aspect, telling their friends about it and trying to get friends to sign up and so forth. Well, here's the thing. Let's talk a little bit about how I encouraged you or influenced you to participate in this extra credit and how you influenced your friends and family and coworkers to participate. Because ultimately, this entire extra credit assignment followed a strategic communications plan and campaign just like the one that you will create with your team. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to reduce this, come back over here. Here's our canvas. Well, later on, we are going to create a strategic communications campaign. Well, I'm going to click here, come here, and we'll come over here to next. And check this out. Right here it says, for this entire project, you will create a plan, campaign deliverables, that means the channels, and you will present your campaign. Well, I am about to present my campaign to you. In so doing, I'm going to show you the deliverables, the channels I used, and I'm going to show you the plan that I created in support of this. So in other words, I did this assignment to influence you, and you already did aspects of this assignment to influence your friends and family and coworkers. So let me show you what I mean by that, all this. So we come back here, and you recognize this. These are the channels that I used to influence you for a specific business purpose, participate in the extra credit assignment. So you recognize this channel banner, you recognize the Canvas announcement and the assignment itself. Now, when you notice these, right away the design is consistent. You notice that it got to the point of where all you had to see was this kind of design, and you knew right away what the communication was all about. The information is easy to find. The key messages are in here. This is just really easy. Jumpstart your semester, get ahead of the game. I even said down here, hey, you'll be glad you did this when it comes time to prepare for Unit 3, because this is a Unit 3 assignment that I did, okay? Now we have other channels as well. We have a boilerplate invitation, the submission tally sheet that you used. We also have the video that I sent out, as well as a whole bunch of remind.com messages that went out, including the video, and of course email. These were 9 channels that I used in my communications campaign to influence you to participate in the extra credit. Now, to that point, this is my strategic communications plan. Now, when it comes time, you and your team will create a plan just like this for your campaign. And I'm going to send all this out to all of you, all embedded in the assignments, so you can actually read the campaign. You'll see that I have a purpose statement here, so I explain what the purpose of this assignment is. I also do an audience analysis where I talk about you, my Business 2200 students. I do an analysis on you. I look at your demographics and your psychographics. I also look at your context, the temporal context, physical context, social and cultural context. And then I do an overall analysis of how best to influence you to participate in this assignment. And then I go on and I list out messaging goals. What do I want my audience members, you guys, to think, feel, and do as you read the messages in the campaign? And so I detail that. And then I talk about the channels that I use to communicate. As you already know, because I just showed you and you've been seeing them all semester, the assignment was a channel. There was no in-class discussion for you as the online team because you're online. Still, plenty of channels. Video, I did a video. I did not do a podcast. I originally planned to do this, did not do it. Comment section, boilerplate, tally sheet, Canvas, email, remind.com. These are all the channels that I used to communicate with you. And then what I go down is, as we go down, we have the tactical plan, meaning who am I going to communicate, what message, how, what channel I'm going to use, and when I'm going to do that. As you noticed, I communicated about this extra credit opportunity through different channels at different times over the last 5 weeks, including before the semester even began. And so all of that is detailed here in the tactical plan. And then, of course, I have my conclusion, and I have all the resources that I used to do primarily my audience analysis. So that is everything that goes into this campaign. Now, something I want you to think about is when you participated in this campaign, you influenced your friends and family and coworkers to sign up and subscribe to Nutshell Brainery and to leave comments. Well, now, how did you do that? I'll tell you what, my guess is some of you may have sweetened the pot a little bit. You may have offered something in exchange, like, oh, I'll take you to lunch or something like that. Some of you may have adjusted your message a little bit depending on who your audience was. So if you're communicating with your family, you'd say, this is really going to help me in my education. If you're communicating with your friends, you're probably saying, hey, dude, do me a solid, right? And you may have found that some channels were more effective than others. If you tried social media or email, you may have found that you really didn't get much out of that. However, you found that if you did it face-to-face or over like a visual call, FaceTime, something like that, or over text, you may have found that you were more effective in influencing people over text. These are all examples of what we've been talking about from the very beginning. Understanding your purpose, understanding your audience, how best to influence them, what channels work best, how to frame the message, things like that. So that's the whole idea behind this extra credit assignment. Sure, it helped in Nutshell Brainery. I got some subscribers and so forth, but what I really got was a real world example of what this final assignment is going to be about at the end of the semester, you having gone through it and you actually having used some of the tools to influence those in your network. So there you go. And by the way, and I'll put this in another announcement as well, yeah, there was a due date attached to this, but you can still do it. If you have not yet done this assignment, this extra credit, you can still do it. I just put the due date there as a forcing function so that I could do this and kind of give you some data on what happened. But I'm going to open it up for the whole rest of the semester. All right. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.